Live and learn. Fred the 4F is loved by all. He is a kind-hearted and helpful engine. He is always greeted warmly and is friends with everyone. He is a freight engine who can tackle any goods he is given with ease. One muggy afternoon, Fred arrived at the harbour to deliver his empty fish fans. Simon was there. He was very worn out. "Hello, Simon. How are things?" asked Fred politely. "Hard work," grumbled Simon. "It's sweltering. The crew are making my life difficult. I know it's hot and stuffy in my cab, but it's not my fault. I've got jobs to do, and I want to do them properly." Fred smiled at the shunter. "Show a little sympathy for your driver and fireman, Simon," he advised. "We all know the summer weather can get too much for our crews." "I suppose," sighed Simon honestly. And with that, Simon steamed away to shunt more wagons. Later that day, Fred was still at the harbour when the yard manager arrived to speak to Fred and his crew. "You'll be staying here tonight, Fred. A landslide has blocked the main line," he announced. "They're diverting passenger trains and important goods on another line, so I doubt the signalman will be able to find a free path for a light engine." "But I've got a coal train to take in the morning," puffed Fred anxiously. But the freight engine soon made light of the predicament. "Oh well, at least I've got good company," he chortled. "Well, looks like we'll be going home on the bus," said the driver. The two men made sure Fred was safe and secure and began to make their long journey home. Just then Simon clattered into the sheds with some news. "A sailor from a tugboat has warned us of a storm approaching. He says it'll hit the coast badly," peeped Simon excitedly. "Oh, I love a good old thunderstorm." Fred didn't seem to share Simon's excitement. He couldn't understand how anybody would feel so exhilarated over a severe storm that could potentially destroy anything in its path. The yard manager soon returned and advised everyone to secure and fasten down anything that was likely to escape or cause damage if not properly protected. "Oh, I hope it's not too bad," quivered Fred nervously. "I've got to get back in the morning to take my coal train." "Don't worry about that. Someone else will take it," Simon cut in. "But I'm the only one who can pull loose coupled wagons efficiently. All the other engines don't have enough experience with unbraked coal trains," explained Fred. Simon's excitement soon subsided as he realized how serious Fred was about his work. He soon comforted his friend. "I'm sure whoever will take the train will do it with as much care and attention as you do." Fred eventually agreed, and Simon was once again allowed to bubble with anticipation. "Batten down the hatches!" shouted Simon giddily. Fred kept on asking if they'd be safe in the shed, but no one seemed to have a definite answer. Fred took a deep breath and prepared for the worst. The next day, the fierce storm had gone, but the damage had been done. Simon and Fred hadn't had much sleep. They had been scared stiff throughout the night. Even Simon had to admit he was worried the shed might fall on them. Fred was still wondering about his coal train, but wondered no more when he saw the state of the harbour. "Oh, maybe someone will have to take the coal train after all," sighed Fred, disappointed. Simon, still shaken up, could only agree. At the station, word had gotten round about Fred being trapped and that an engine was needed to pull the coal train. Robin steamed in with a suburban train. The station master was waiting for him. "Robin, excellent timing. You must go to the yards to pick up a coal train. Fred isn't here to take it, and you are the only engine available. Can you do it?" he asked. Robin seemed unsure, but bravely agreed to do it. He'd never pulled freight before, let alone unbraked wagons. What Robin didn't know was that his driver was inexperienced with freight trains such as this, which would make Robin's journey extremely difficult. Working with a long train of loose-coupled, unbraked loaded coal wagons and getting it safely to its destination was a work of art. Fred had plenty of experience and could control them without an accident occurring. Everything from setting off to climbing and descending hills and coming to a stop safely, all has to be done perfectly. With the skill of the driver, patience of the engine, and years of practice, this train could be driven with no problems at all. But at the same time, many things can go wrong. Happily for Robin, the coal train wasn't very long as he coupled up. When the driver saw this, he was very confident. "This'll be easy," he said. But Robin wasn't so sure. As Robin set off, the driver pulled the regulator sharply. Robin shot forwards, the wagons snatched at each other. The chain reaction pulled the brake van with such force, the guard was knocked off his feet inside. "Watch it, you clumsy idiot!" scolded the guard. But neither the driver nor Robin heard him. Robin was taking a battering. The wagons banged and clattered together. Robin had the feeling his driver didn't know what he was doing. But soon, things got worse. As they approached a small gradient, the weight of the wagons pulled against Robin. "Get a move on, get a move on, get a move on," panted Robin. The driver hadn't given his engine enough power, and soon the train came to a halt halfway up. The driver summed up the situation. "If I give you more power, we'll be able to coast down the other side." "Oh, that'll be much easier," puffed Robin, convinced. Robin got to grips with his train and snorted up the gradient. But this was a big mistake. As they reached the top, the weight of the wagon suddenly began to lean against Robin and began to push him down the hill. Robin screeched along, out of control. The driver had fought against the wagons to regain control, but unfortunately hadn't succeeded. Robin had been caught out by trap points and derailed. He sat on the ground, shocked but relieved it was all over. The guard had more than a few stern words for the driver when workmen arrived to rescue the train. The unhurt wagons were taken away, and the workmen began to dig out Robin's wheels. Passenger trains would go past on the other line. They would all stare and gasp to find that an accident had happened on the railway, and would gossip of how despicable the railways had become. Soon Fred arrived. He had just been freed from the harbour when he was diverted to help with a rescue attempt. Fred looked disheartened as he saw Robin off the rails. Even though he knew it wasn't his fault, he couldn't help but feel responsible. Fred was attached to a small crane, and with it he hauled Robin safely back onto the rails. "Thank you," said Robin gratefully. "I'm glad to see you all right," puffed Fred with relief. "Nothing a few workmen can't fix. I'll most likely be sent to the works," smiled Robin. "Yes, indeed. But I wish something like this could be prevented from happening again," Fred wished thoughtfully. "Give me a new driver," teased Robin. "I know. I'll teach everyone how to pull trains like this," Fred cried brightly. "If ever you have to take a train like this, I'll advise you on how to." "You could teach Ivert and William and maybe even Arthur," exclaimed Robin. "It will come in very handy. Then accidents like this won't happen again," cheered Fred. "We live and learn," smiled Robin. Fred couldn't agree more. He promised to help his friends and teach them all about freight trains, and he vowed to keep that promise with Robin as his witness. And with that, Fred helped his friend home.